Hi, everyone. Welcome to the kickoff session. My name is Anastasia Marison. I'm the account manager on the Norwegian LCS team. LCS stands for Large Customer Sales, and that means that I primarily work with large advertisers in Norway. I've been at Google for 2 years now, all the way staying in Dublin, and really am enjoying it. So together with me, I have Tim and Kevin. Guys, would you like to introduce yourselves?
Sure, Tim, you go ahead.
Thanks. My name is Tim Gnabbe. I'm Dutch. I'm a sales manager for the Norwegian and Finnish market here at Google. I've been here now for 5.5 years. I used to be an account manager, working on the floor. Then got the opportunity to become a sales manager. That's what I'm doing now. So that's me.
Perfect, thanks. My name is Kavian, and I work as an account manager in the Danish team. I'm Swedish, but I work in the Danish team because we're quite international, as we call it. And I work with the largest advertisers in the travel sector in Denmark. I've been here for almost 2.5 years, and just as Anastasia, I'm really enjoying my time here, and I look forward to have this program together with you guys. Anastasia?
Yep. So on our agenda today, we have quite a few different things. So we thought we would start by giving you a little bit of more details on what Google Online Marketing Bootcamp involves as a program. So the types of things that you can expect, the sessions that would be coming, and also how Google Online Marketing Bootcamp is actually related to Google Online Marketing Challenge. We have been receiving some questions on this. And I thought it would be nice to actually just start by giving you those details. Another thing then, Tim has kindly agreed to come join us today and tell us a little bit more of the Google story. So where did we start as a company? We thought it could be interesting. It's the first session, yeah, we thought it would be fun to give you a little bit of the background, where we come from, where we stand now. And also Tim will share some insights on what it's like to be in the EMEA headquarters in Dublin. In case you decide to come and visit us, and if you do so, you're more than welcome. We are happy to organize a tour for you. Or maybe this could be interesting even if you decide to apply for a job here. And then after Tim, you're more than welcome to ask questions. By the way, there's a live chat, and we will be happy to address your questions either afterwards, depending on how many would come, or if we don't have the chance to cover all of them, we will come back on our G+ community. Sorry, going back to the agenda again, Kevin will take us through and give us an introduction, a brief introduction to digital marketing, and he will also share the so-called micro moments perspective, which we typically use when we advise our clients on how to select the most relevant channels for their clients or for their final users. So let's jump into this and start a little bit with the GOMB program. So the GOMB program, so the bootcamp, is actually a program that is developed by Googlers whose core role is the one that myself and Kavian would be having. So it's developed by the Googlers who are actually working with real businesses. We are facing our advertisers and big companies every day. And throughout the program, we would also be inviting the specialists with very high expertise on the different subjects. And the whole idea is that they would be both ourselves and those specialists will be sharing the best practices, the tips, the recommendations that they have acquired through their experience with you. And again, the idea is to help you plan the most effective campaigns and get the best results for the companies you will be working with. So the aim of Google Online Marketing Bootcamp is to equip you with the knowledge that you need to really successfully participate in the competition, and B, it's to guide you through this competition. So on one hand, we realize that we do have a lot of different solutions. There's a lot of options, and once you start diving into this and reading up on this and going through the certifications, you will see that there's actually quite a lot to take in. So the idea with those sessions is really to filter out that knowledge and help you with to understand the things that will be relevant for yourselves. So just once again, the GOMB, you should now understand, and GOMC, which is the Google Online Marketing Challenge, are two separate things. These are two separate initiatives. So the Google Online Marketing Challenge is a competition, the global competition that has been available and has been there for many years. The universities globally can join that competition, and like practically any students from those universities can participate. The idea of that competition is, again, you find a real business, you create the campaigns for them, and then you run them, you optimize them, and you evaluate the performance of them. Whereas the Google Online Marketing Bootcamp is something that we offer on top of the Google Online Marketing Challenge, meaning that this is an additional educational package, again, to just help you successfully get through the actual competition. Actually, can we go just a little bit back to the previous slide? Sorry about that. So yeah, I just wanted to focus a little bit on really the benefits of this program. All of you who are enrolled into this program certainly have done the right thing, I would say, because by not only listening to what you potentially can do, but by actually doing this, by actually working with the businesses, collaborating with them, advising them on the solutions, and actually implementing them, you would really gain a very, very good understanding of the digital marketing ecosystem. You would also be able, obviously, to get very hands-on experience with the actual implementation of those campaigns. So it will not be a theoretical knowledge. You will actually be able to, start a job after you have finished, and you would be, fully able to do those kind of tasks from day one. There will always also be an opportunity to take AdWords certifications. We would definitely recommend you to have a look at AdWords fundamentals and search certifications, advanced search, as probably the minimum. And quite honestly, if I was to give you, very personal even advice, I would say definitely grab this opportunity. You will be going through the materials. You would have enough knowledge to actually pass those exams. And if you pass those exams, obviously, that will make you into a very attractive candidate once you start applying for jobs. You will be working throughout this program. Obviously, you'll be working in teams, so that in itself can be a very valuable experience. And because you'll be dealing with real life problems, and you will also be able to develop your leadership skills. And the fun part of it is that there are prizes involved as well. So if you become a global winner, you will get a trip, a 7-day trip to our headquarters in Mountain View, which is pretty cool. And and you will be able to spend a day there. If you become regional winners, you can come to our regional office. So, for example, if you were to win, you would be coming to Dublin. And there's plenty of Google swag and like other kind of fun things. I'll come back to the swag actually. Now, a little bit more. I know it's a little bit maybe like a lot of administration and a lot of like information to take in, but I hope it helps you to understand again the differences between the GOMC and what we are giving you with our package with the GOMB. So let's go back to the GOMC, because after all, you will be participating in a competition. So if you haven't studied the Google Online Marketing Challenge website yet, I really recommend you go, and maybe it sounds very old-fashioned, but like, quite honestly, I would have said, print out the pages from that website, including the frequently asked questions, go through them with a marker, and just really identify and find the answers. I can guarantee you that a lot of the answers to the questions you probably have around the competitions are already there. So please do study it. You will also have a recommended kind of timeline with the different steps. And I think they have like 10 steps or something like that. But if we were to boil this down to stages, I would say there's 4 main stages in this competition. So the first thing you'll have to do is you'll have to form a team of 3 to 6 students, and then you'll have to select a business. Now, on the teams, just to make a note on forming a team. You should ideally be forming a team together with the students from your own university. So please try and do that. You can definitely use, if you don't know somebody else from your own university, please use our G+ community, and we will try and help you connect you with your peers. There is also an option of actually participating with students from another university, but then you will have to register under one and the same professor anyhow. Again, those are the details that you probably should know, or you can or you will know once you have actually gone through the rules of the competition. And then you will be selecting a business. On the business itself, there's a lot of advice that is already given, so please, again, review the website, because you'll find the recommendations on which businesses we suggest that you avoid and which businesses actually can be very good for this competition. So once that is in place, this is where you will start preparing your pre-campaign report. The pre-campaign report is basically a plan for your business where you describe and give an outline of all the activities that you have planned and the proposed AdWords strategy. There are particular requirements to that. Again, they're very, very specific. Please go through them. If you have questions on the reports or things like that, you can also go to the G+ community and ask us. Once you have submitted the report to Google, you will get your credit of $250, and then you're ready to start running your campaigns. There's again, you can run the campaigns for up to 21 days. Again, read the rules, please. And then once you have finished, obviously throughout the process, you're working all the time and making sure that the campaigns are making the most of the budget, that they are fully optimized, and that you have really done everything you can with the campaigns to make sure you maximize the performance. Once you have finished the campaign, you will write your post-campaign report. And this is where you would be evaluating the results. You'll be telling us a little bit about how you were actually optimizing that. So this is kind of pretty much it. So you have your team, you prepare, you find the business, you talk to the business, you find everything out about that business, their objectives, their key performance indicators, the industry they are operating in. Then you plan, you make a plan, you submit it, you get the credit, you run the campaigns, and then you evaluate the performance. So this is GOMC. Now, where does GOMB come into the picture? And that's our program. So you have probably already seen the timeline that we have developed on our website, and you can see that all of you will have a face-to-face session, at least one face-to-face session, where the different representatives of those who are involved in this program would actually travel to your universities. For some universities, this has already taken place. For some, this is still to happen, so you can be looking forward to that. And then, apart from the face-to-face session, there will be 4 YouTube live sessions, just like this one, where we would be covering the different topics which we believe you need to understand in order to be able to start planning your campaigns, in order to be, again, better equipped and really make the use of the different features that we think could be relevant. So everything will be tailored. We'll give you an overview of the different opportunities out there, but also we are very conscious, and we will try of the context that you are in, and we will try and really make all of our recommendations relevant to your types of clients, if you like, and this when it comes to the scale of the campaigns. So we will start next week by And we will have experts joining this session again, where they will talk you through, give you an introduction basically to how search even works. How does paid advertising via Google work on search? How do ads get up there? How is ranking organized and works, and so on. And as you can see from this timeline, for every single week you would have a topic that we will be going through, but additionally, we have also tried to link in the steps which you should be going through at that point in time. So, for example, next week, you should be really thinking of which business you would select, and you should start learning about AdWords and also more about your client, and so on. So I don't have to take you through all of it, but you can see the timeline there. Now, there's one important note to make here, and that is this is a recommended timeline, okay? You should remember that there are different universities and different classes that are enrolled onto this program. For some of you, this program would be actually integrated into the modules and would be obligatory. So you may have your own deadlines for when you should be submitting the reports or when you should be done with the different things. At the other universities, this can actually be more as an extracurricular activity, and this is where you can be relying on our timeline. So this is recommended. If you have a look, and if you have studied again the GOMC website, you would notice that the timeline there is a little bit different. So the deadlines, for example, for when you can submit your pre-campaign report or post-campaign report can be a little bit different. It is totally up to you. We recommend you follow this, but if you feel you need another week, a little bit more time to actually get through this program, that's totally fine with us. But please make sure that you don't miss the deadlines that are actually mentioned on the GOMC website, because that's really important. Right. So just another note on, like, I've been talking out here for half an hour. So very quickly, I promise this is very administrative. There'll be more fun here. But if you have questions throughout the bootcamp and your competition and participation in it, first of all, this is also the way how most advertisers would be working, really, when they work with our solutions and use Google for advertising. There's a lot of support center articles, and they will also be a part of those, certification materials that you'll be going through if you want to take it and examine the certification. So please always try and find the answer to a question first. Then obviously, if you can't find the answer, do come to G+ community, post your question. But equally, if you see somebody else, another peer from another university or your own university asking a question and you know the answer to the question, please do help them and just answer. Don't always wait for us to come. We will be trying to be as quick as we can. But as I mentioned, we also have other things. We would love to help you guys, but please do support each other and help each other. We also, right? Yeah, it's a community. So, and this is how we work. Like this is our everyday as well, right? So it's all about helping each other. And actually, every week we thought we would actually pick the most active contributor on the G+ community, and maybe we'll have some surprises for you in the end. But we'll keep that till later. I hope that has given you a better understanding of GOMC, GOMB, and how they're linked. If you have any questions, we have a live stream, which I hope you can see. If you don't, then you probably will have to go to the YouTube channel itself, where the streaming takes place, and then you'll find it. Please ask questions. We will address them in the end.
I think all the information is also on the website, right?
Yeah.
Everything
Plenty, on the website. There's actually 2 of them. All right. So, shall we move on and have a look and speak a little bit about Google and our life at Google?
Sure. I can definitely do that. And even before we go to the slides, it's as I said, an honor to be here. Great initiative. And I was asked to share a few things about Google as a company and a few things about living here in Dublin and working for Google here in Dublin. let me start with the Google thing first, and then go into the Dublin things. But please add to anything I say. Let's even go way back when Google started in 1998. It was founded by Larry and Sergey, two friends from university, from studies in the US, in California. And what they saw happening is that they saw the internet coming. They saw lots of websites coming into the world, but it was kind of an organized chaos, right? There were lots of cool sites evolving and being made, but no one really know where to find them. So they said, okay, let's make a website where we can kind of organize all of this. And they built a mission statement around it, which is to make organize the world's information and make it universal, accessible, and useful. And to do that, they created a search engine that would exactly understand, what you mean and gives you back exactly what you need in the moment that's relevant for you. And it's interesting to see because we're always 20 years later, because the company was founded in 1908. And 20 years later, I think this mission statement of organizing information and making it universal, accessible, and useful is still applicable for all of us nowadays. So that's interesting to see. But of course, over the past 20 years, everything has evolved quite a bit, right? I think where it started, everything, the internet, also when I talk about myself, it was somewhere in the attic. My dad had a computer, and it was the only computer in the house. You had to dial in. No one had to make any calls because then my game would crash. That's where we came from back in the days. And if you see now, I think everyone has a computer with them as we speak, right? Everyone has a mobile device in their pockets. So everyone has their own computer. There is no this one thing that only shows one result and it looks the same for everyone. So it came from pretty far, like how it has evolved. And not only the desktop, but also mobile. And in general, also if you look to search, even though the site is still kind of comparable, there has been lots of changes and tweaks in, for example, how the website looks for itself. And I think if you go to one of the examples I have on the slides, you, for example, see how we use synonyms and how we kind of start using that in giving better results to our users. So here you see a few examples on the left of queries that people put into Google. We all have the synonym CS in there. But if you look to the right, you see that there are lots of things that a CS could mean, from Credit Suisse to Counter-Strike to Central Station, anything. And at some point, the system started to understand, like, hey, these CS things can mean different things, so we also need to show different results on the search page. So that's a very, obvious thing to do. Of course, it's a bit more tricky to make on the back end. That's an example of how we kept on evolving search. Another thing is what you, for example, see is that when you Google something, it kind of it starts to come up with solutions that think you, it starts filling out your sentence. So you start typing car space, and for example, it will say rental or car buying or car something. So we kind of see which words people combine, and by doing that, we kind of start filling out the sentence for you. Or we say like, hey, did you mean? So I think a few examples of where we keep on evolving the core of our business, which is search. And if you talk about search, I think a few relevant numbers to mention is that every month we have over 100 billion search terms being Googled. So that's an enormous amount to do. And it's unbelievable to see that with speed we can deliver results to you, right? I think it's also on the site written, like how fast the result is given to us. But it comes a lot of, back-end algorithms needed to give these results. And if you look to all the search terms, that's what you just saw on the previous slide, is that 15% of all of these terms are new for us, are new for Google. Which is again interesting to see, because where back in the day someone would, for example, say, loan or get a loan, people will now type all questions into Google saying like, how do I finance my television? Mm-hmm. So we also see that the behavior is constantly changing. How people are using search, they start to talk to Google or maybe on their phone, and also the type of queries is kind of changing. Mm-hmm. So that's about Google, and Google is evolving. And what you then also see is that the devices are changing. So back in the day, as I said in my personal example, it would be the one computer at my parents' place when we had to go up to the attic, and we had shifts. My sister and I could use it for certain hours a day. But now everyone has a computer, and with them in the form of a mobile device. I think on an average we look 150 times per day on our personal computer or on our mobile device. It's the first thing you do in the morning as an alarm. It's the last thing you do when you go to bed. So it's crazy how also the way of how we're using internet has been changed over the years. And to only get more. I think the number you see here on the slide is that we expect 5 billion mobile users by 2020. So that are all people that are connected to the internet, and where we as Google will have the opportunity to provide information to. And this could mean a lot to I don't know, if you take the local farmers in some faraway regions that finally have access to information, how to grow their land or how to make them more productive. It's quite impressive.
And it has a tremendous influence on how businesses communicate to their final users and their customers. Thinking of all this mobile wave and changes.
Exactly, it expands their market dramatically, right? Where you back in the days had just one shop in one city and that was it. You would sell to the city. I think now kind of the whole world becomes your market. So it's impressive to see. And what you also see is that Google is becoming more and more clever in the sense of understanding what we mean with certain searches. So if you again go to your mobile device, and I would take a very local example. For example, if you're in Dublin, if I would ask by typing or by talking to my mobile phone, what's the Dublin population? The phone understands that Dublin is a city. It understands that I'm interested in the population, obviously. It kind of proactive gives me a time of, how do you say it, a graph where I can see the population growth. And we also kind of saw that after people Googled this, about Dublin population, that people quite often were also interested in, for example, the population of Amsterdam or Cork, another city here in Dublin. So we also provide that information. Why? Because as I said, in the past, people correlated searches from Dublin and then, for example, looking into the how many people live in Amsterdam. So what you see changing in Google is where back in the days was an engine that only gives you information exactly what you ask for it. But now we kind of try to go a step further and give you even more than you ask for, but what is hopefully in line with your expectations, your needs, or what would be relevant for you. And that's not only with, for example, population, but also things with soccer, right? Personally interested in Chelsea, great club. When I would Google it, I'm of course interested in their the matches that are coming up. So that's something that Google understands. It gives you match updates when they're happening, what you see right now on the screen. But it also gives you information about how they were, for example, in the news, or how they are standing in the scores in the pool. So it's great that Google not only gives me the answer I'm looking for, like, I don't know, when is Chelsea playing again, but it also gives you all the other information that I, as a soccer fan, find very interesting. I don't have to switch apps. I don't have to go to other places. It's all kind of integrated in the search engine.
Just a small note there, Arsenal is actually better than Chelsea.
We can talk about it later, but it's... let's go back to that one. Anyways, so that's what you constantly see happening, right? We try to keep on reinventing the wheel over and over by integrating things like what you just saw, like kind of an in-app experience in the Google search engine, but also things like Twitter, a very popular medium by, I think, some very famous people in the world right now. And what you see is that we kind of incorporated this in our search results. So if you, for example, type in NASA Twitter, you can see the live feed of people using the hashtag for NASA and see what's happening there. So we also try to be clever in integrating different sources into Google to make it relevant and accessible for the user at that moment. So I guess it's interesting to see how we kind of keep on reinventing the wheel and do clever things. And I think a last example, it's not on the slides, but just want to share it with you. For example, if you Google something on your mobile phone, you get some results on the page, and we know the chance is that, say, 90-95% you're going to click on any of the top links there. So in the back end, we already load these pages for you. So if you click on them, you go way faster to the desired websites. So it's again an obviously thing to do, but it's kind of difficult to arrange in the back end. But it makes the user experience again way better. So that's a few examples about how we kind of kept on improving Google and the Google search engine. Other things we did, and I think on the slides I have a few examples, but I don't have to go in all of them. So if you flip to the next one, what does it mean for me, right? Me as a Googler, if I'm searching something, it could be completely different context, right? So if you, for example, are in the city center on your mobile phone, it's 7 p.m. and you type in pizza, then you might be looking for a pizza restaurant. If you type in pizza, again 7 p.m., but you're at home at your desktop and you type in pizza, you might want to have pizza delivered to your place. So it's a different context, it's a different place, a different device, but it's the same keyword. But by looking at all the different signals, we can kind of define what the user wants. Do you want to find a pizza restaurant when you're in the city on your phone? Or do you want to have a pizza delivered to you when you're on your desktop at home? Complete different context. And if you go to the slide, there's also, for example, an example there that if you would, for example, be in the United States, you would ask Google, who's the president? It understands you're in the US, so it understands it has to show you the president that was back in the days. guess we kind of have to update this one. And the interesting thing is that it remembers the topic of your question. So after you ask who's the president, you would type or ask to the Google, how tall is he? He understands that he is the president, meaning Barack Obama. So it's also interesting to see how we, again, try to make it for the user easier to kind of follow up with the phone on different questions. Same trick if you go to Paris, right? It understands the phone if you have your geolocation sharing on. It understands that you're in Paris. If you're close to the Eiffel Tower, you ask how tall is it, it understands that you're talking about the Eiffel Tower. So it's, again, a few examples where you can see we are constantly evolving the service experience and making it better and better. Another thing that I think is pretty cool is that what we saw with the Twitter example, integrating in Google search, is that we also have something called Google on Tap, which is pretty great. So if you, for example, in a conversation, you see an example here on the screen, talking about going to the movie, talking about going dinner to somewhere. What you could do is that if you hold the, the home screen button, so that's kind of the circle you see on the bottom in the middle. If you hold it for, I think, 2-3 seconds, it scans the page, right? So it's looking for information on that on the screen you're looking at right now, and it gives you follow-up action. So you can, for example, see here you could very easily book the restaurant, the slanted door via this, or you could find information about the movie you want to go to by simply just holding this button and then letting Google scan the page. So I think, again, a great example of how we, again, take this information and by one click on the bottom, try to, already help you with your follow-up step. All very great for in general, but it gets even more interesting, I think, is we're going to see, okay, for me as a person, what does it matter, right? What does it mean for me? So I, for example, might have some packages ordered from Amazon. I might be flying to some places. I might have a car rental coming up for the place I'm flying to. And what Google is also doing is kind of becoming an internal search engine for yourself, right? So if I, for example, go to Google and type my packages, it will look into, for example, Gmail or the app from Amazon, and it would gather information about my package. Same counts for my flights. If I got my booking confirmation sent to my Gmail, to my phone, it will scan that information and will give it to me if I look for it. So Google is also not only becoming, reinventing itself on the external search thing, but also on the internal search for yourself. It's becoming more and more relevant. So I think here are a few great examples of how you could use that.
So by the end of the day, what you're trying to say here is that we're trying to simplify and make the everyday life easier to find information for both companies, but also for us as human beings.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a journey that's happening kind of all the time. So that's very quick about Google. It's difficult to explain the whole history of the company in just a few minutes. And now we only talked about how to say Google and Google search, right? I think if you look to Google, it's part of Alphabet, the mother company, which has other companies under it, like Nest, the clever thermostats and the clever webcams, like the self-driving car, like the clever lens, anything. So don't forget, we're talking about Google, but it's part of a way bigger cool thing. Maybe enough about Google. Shall I move on to the...
Yeah, we can move on to maybe Dublin. A little bit about life in Dublin.
Sure.
Google Dublin.
Sure. Can definitely do that. It's pretty cool to start with. It's very international here in Dublin. We are with, I think, over 3,000 people working for Google in Dublin. It's the European headquarters of EMEA, so that's the whole of Europe and Africa. I think we have, is it 60 nationalities?
75, I think, was the last one.
75? Yeah. Okay. Let's say at least 60 and maybe up to 75 nationalities. So a lot of them. I think average age is end of their 20s, more or less.
28. I
So
heard
it's 28 even?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's very young, international group of people working here. And we are not alone, right? I think Facebook is across the corner with 1,000 people. You have Airbnb, Twitter, LinkedIn, Dropbox, they call it not Silicon Valley, but I think Docs Valley, right? Okay, all the European headquarters are based here. So that's pretty cool. And I think if you look on the slides, I put in a few pictures of how it would look. You will see the office. If you have a few pictures from the office, you'll see it's a very, open, transparent, free place to work. Yes, in the end of the day, it's an American company, right? So we need to reach our targets and then do the stuff we are hired to do.
But once you've done that, there's lots of freedom, right? It's up to you how you do it and when you do it, as long as by the end of the day you do it.
So here you see some pictures of a caravan in one of the offices. You see like the soccer tables, you see like social events. Because I think the great thing of Google is that they also really care about the work-life balance. Yes, work hard is important, but the play hard element is something as important as that. So they also really focus on well-being. We have a gym, for example, here in the building. We have a pool in the building. We have the wellness center with a GP, with a dentist. So it's unbelievable, all the stuff they do for us to just keep us, healthy, productive, but also having fun in the things we do.
What is your favorite part about Google Docs?
Is the ice cream machine. I think we have in one of the restaurants.
That's my daughter's favorite.
Yeah,
That's definitely one.
It's really crazy. I think if you have the opportunity to come over, as Anastasia said, please do so, because it's difficult to explain. There are not so much online resources about how it exactly looks on the inside. But if you have the opportunity, please do come, find one of us, and I'm more than happy to show you around. I think it's the last thing, and that's also my last slide, is that yes, in Dublin you have your European headquarters based, mostly support teams, mostly sales teams, of course also other things like HR and engineering, but that's kind of the sales and support is the big hub here. But there are in almost every European country there are offices. I think there are around 30 offices in 21 countries, so it's quite a bunch. And we basically work always together with them. So, for example, the Norwegians would then work together with counterparts in Oslo, or kind of work together with.
I think personally, just to throw in, I think personally for me, the most fun part actually, and my favorite thing about being here at Google Dublin is the people and the fact that we're so international, we're so diverse, we're so different. So basically every day you can expect to work with people from other parts of the world, and you can always collaborate. People are very supportive, and it really creates this atmosphere of one big campus, one big family where everybody is very, very helpful, and you'll always find somebody who can give you a hand on whatever you're working on.
Exactly. It's pretty cool. Anything to add?
No, I think you got it. Dublin as a city, of course, it is quite nice. It's a little bit, I will usually say it's a little bit like Gothenburg, which is the second biggest city, and I guess a lot of people from Norway should know where that is, because you can walk everywhere. You have this all international people from all around the world. So you have the Irish culture, but you also have this international mix of people that makes it quite dynamic. So I like the city a lot as well.
Yeah. Definitely. Cool.
Yeah, I guess that was it for my part about Google and Google Dublin.
Yeah, super. Thank you. I think before we jump on to the next bit, I was just going to mention that you do have a chance to ask questions. There is a live chat. If you don't see it, then you're probably watching it from our website, from the GOMB website. You will have to go to the YouTube channel, just hover around a little bit on the video, and you'll find there's a link. And then once you're on the actual YouTube channel, you will find a live chat. Please feel free to ask any questions, either about the program or about Google Dublin or anything. We are here to answer them. Right? Okay, so so let's move on to the actual introduction to digital marketing. And before we move on to the way we see it as Google, I suppose I would like to take a step back a little bit, because I definitely appreciate, and we know that the students who are enrolled onto this program actually come from very many different backgrounds. Mm-hmm. So some of you may be studying computer sciences, some of you may be studying innovation and entrepreneurship. So maybe some of you have had a separate module on marketing and know really a lot about this, and maybe to some it's a little bit new. So let's kind of go a little bit back and just look at what is marketing really like. What are we talking about? So if you remember, or if you look in the academic books, and if you look for those academic definitions of it, you would see that marketing is defined as all those things, all those activities, all those processes that you put in place in order to create products, in order to communicate about those products, and also in order to sell them. Right. Now, so marketing also, for maybe some of you may be associated with the so-called 4 Ps, right? So it's about product, it's the product development. So marketeers would be involved in product development. They would be involved in price setting. They would be involved in the promotion of those products, and then also in the distribution or sales of those. Now, because in our context, we will not really be developing products, or we will not really be setting prices, or maybe you will get into a position with your businesses and you'll have such a good relationship that you can advise on this. But because primarily we are not doing that, we can simplify this a little bit and say marketing in our context is all about promotion and distribution. So it's about the communication to the final users about the products of your business, and it's also about making sure that those products are available for sales. And then if we look at the what digital marketing is, then really there's not much of a difference when it comes to the actual definition. So digital marketing would also be primarily concerned and focusing on the promotion of the products and the distribution of the products. The major difference between the traditional marketing, obviously, and digital lies in the definition itself. So it's the promotion and distribution of products using digital platforms. So the examples of the different digital channels that the marketeers would be using could be, email marketing. It could be using affiliate partners. It could be display or so-called banner advertising. It could be a paid search, which we'll be looking at. It could be programmatic, just to name a few options. And in the bootcamp program, we will be focusing on the digital opportunities that we can offer. So the channels and the solutions that we have via Google, and they actually cover quite a lot of those different digital channels that I have mentioned previously. And Kevin, your micro moments.
Yes, thank you for that handover. So I'm going to talk about something that we call moments, and in particular moments that matter. And here at Google, why we talk about that is, as Anastasia just explained, it can be quite complicated and quite tricky because there's many different parameters that go into digital marketing. So we came up with a story or a narrative that we call moments that matter in order to make it a little bit easier to understand why digital marketing is important. And if we actually look at how we behave today, us here in the room, but also you guys on the video here, is all of us, as Tim mentioned, we are using our smartphones or our supercomputers all the time. And we constantly check it, and we're connected. And as soon as we have a question, we want to know when the next bus leaves, or what is on the TV tonight, or which Netflix series should I watch, we go to our smartphone. So we're constantly connected. And I just want to use a personal experience. And this guy with glasses is supposedly to be me. So a year back, I went to London to have a few days of a vacation. And while I was doing this, I hadn't been there for a while, so I did a little bit of research, check out which restaurant should I go to, which bars should I check out, which places in town is very nice to visit. And when I did this trip, I came back home, and I wanted to check my browsing history to actually see how many moments did I have during the trip, but also before the trip. So here's a small little GIF that I made of the browsing history, and you can see that I checked out Airbnb to see where I should stay. I looked at healthy restaurant because I like healthy food. You might not see it here, but I am. And we also looked at which sites in Dublin in London would be worth a visit. So this is just me for a trip that I made for 3 days, and I had over 100 moments. And why are these important? They're important because each moment allows an advertiser or a brand to actually connect with me. And when I say connect, I mean that they can promote their services or their business to me. Many of these experiences that I just had, many of these moments that I just had were quite personal. And I might not be ready or open to actually engage with a brand. But the good thing about digital marketing is that you as a user are the ones in control. I can actually choose to skip the ad or just close it down because I'm not interested. But if I would be interested, if I get an ad of the best healthy restaurant in London and I click on it, then I'm very interested in the content and the message that business will want to give me. So that is the key learning here, that the moments and the users are the one in control. And if you look at across all the platforms and all the products that we have, that some of them Tim was mentioning before, such as YouTube, Google Chrome, Google Maps, Gmail, Android, Chrome, the list can be very, very long. But we have over 1 billion users using these platforms, which is quite a big base. So just imagine how many moments that actually creates for us. And all of these moments would be potential for brands and advertisers to connect and interact with the user. But the question that you might ask when you have these moments is, where should I start? Because it would be quite complicated. But we have tried to simplify this, and we have come up with 5 principles or 5 categories of moments, as we call them, to make it a little bit easier to know where to start. And we have them here on the presentation, and we start from the left. They are all connected to the consumer journey. So we have for the first, I want to watch moments. And this is basically where you're in the mindset of you go online, for example, to YouTube to get inspired or to watch content that you're passionate about. For me, it would be Arsenal videos. For Tim, it would be another team, and so forth. So you're not really in the purchasing phase, but you just want to get inspired or entertained. And then we go to I want to know moments. And this is more about exploring and researching. Imagine that you want to plan your holiday for the summer and you want to check out different destinations. So where could I go? Where do they have the best surf spot in the world, for example? You're not still ready to buy anything, but you're more inspirational. Then we have I want to go moments. For example, you want to buy a new digital camera. And you sit at your home and you want to go to the nearest store in order just to go and get the feel and the feeling for that camera. You want to go and find it quite well. And you often use your mobile phone to actually find that store and close by to you. And then we have the I want to do moments, which can be both before you bought something, but also after. Imagine that you just bought that IKEA drawer, you come back to your house and you don't figure out how to do it. So you just go on YouTube and you put how to assemble this IKEA drawer, and that helps you. And then we have the last part, which is the I want to buy moments, which is quite highly intentful because you're ready to buy something, but you're not sure which brand or which company you should buy it for. And here is quite important as an advertiser to be visible and be present and not let them, because the client and the consumer would not come to you automatically. You need to help them choose you. So this is to help you give a little bit overview of what kind of moments is very important to have in the consumer journey. And to wrap it up, we have 3 parameters that is quite important. And one of them, as we've been mentioning a little bit before, is intent. Intent is basically what are you as a user trying to do when you're online searching. And then we have the context. And the context is a little bit like Tim said with the pizza example. So which situation are you in when you do this search? And then we have the immediacy, which is basically how fast can we cater to your needs. And just to go a little bit more in detail, intent has been a very critical topic in marketing for a very, very long time. And if you investigate within the intent, you can clearly and quite finely understand what is the consumer needs and what do they actually want to do. For example, imagine if you would study the top things that makes people search for gluten allergen, or the challenges they have for college application process, or why do people search for hairstyles? If you are in any of these businesses and you understand why a user would search for these behaviors, it's easier for you to cater your message and your ads and your creatives to actually have the right message in the right time. If we look at the context, this is basically on where we look at what type of device would the user use, what time of day, and where they at. If you use the digital camera, again, as an example, if you're sitting on a Friday evening watching a movie on your laptop and you're browsing for digital camera, versus if you're on the street or even inside a digital camera store on your phone searching for it. Both of them are the same keywords, but quite different intent here. And then the last part, we have immediacy, which is how fast can your message as an advertiser solve the problem of the user. If it's not fast enough, they're just going to browse for the next one. So it's extremely important to be relevant and fast. And if we take all of these three, and in the holy grail of the middle, we have the moments and the micro moments that we as an advertiser need to win. And obviously, we at Google, we have different products that helps our advertiser to win these different moments. And we have quite a big range of that. And during the online bootcamp program, we'll go through many of these different features, and you will familiarize yourself with them and learn more about them. And in order to go over, Anastasia will now explain to you guys what are the next steps in terms of the program, what's coming up, and what you need to be prepared for. So, Anastasia?
Yeah. So let's have a look at the next steps and what's to come. So again, just to summarize this session. So the idea is, I hope you sit with a better understanding now of the differences in between the bootcamp and the challenge, where we come into the picture, and that you still need to really understand and go through the whole of the GOMC website to understand the rules and really pick out all the relevant advice for example, which businesses you can select. Then I hope you have I hope we have managed to inspire you a little bit by telling you our story, because I think it was quite an ambitious aim or mission or objective that Larry and Sergey started off with, and it's really fun to see how they're really kind of living their dream, and it's all happening and it's all taking place. I think the core things there are really is that whenever it comes to search, I think we are really focusing on being relevant. We are focusing on making searches efficient and of good quality for the users. So we always kind of put them into the center. And then the micro moments narrative is really relevant for you in a sense that when you will start thinking about the solutions that should be relevant for your businesses, this is where micro moments come into the picture. Because one of the things that we probably find as one of the most challenging ones in our jobs when we work with our clients and with the companies is that quite often they tend to take their very traditional mindset of being, using this mass communication on the internet, whereas in most of the cases it really wouldn't just work. So micro moments are there. This perspective and this framework is really there to help you identify those moments and to make sure that your communication is tailored and is the most as relevant as possible during all those different periods in time and moments. Now, a little bit about the next steps. On our website, we already have included the recommended actions and also the different materials that you can be going through. The first thing, this week, or we can say next week, the beginning of next week, is first of all, again, please do go through the competition website, the actual GOMC. Really do read this. I can't highlight it more. It's really, really important. And actually, I can see one of the questions that has come through from Gonzalo, who is wondering whether it's possible to choose a business of your own. I would say I don't really see, I personally don't see that this should be an issue. I think you should be able to do that. Now, having said that, I really recommend you still go to the website and you read through all the rules in terms of which businesses you are allowed and not. Please, we do expect that you take ownership of this a little bit yourself, so put yourself totally into this and read up and figure out. The most important thing about choosing the businesses is that it has to be a business new to AdWords. So either those would be the companies that have never used AdWords or that have accounts that have been inactive for the past half a year. But do please check this out once again to make sure that we have the right answers there. Now, you will also be registering. So very soon you should be registering for the competitions. Now, again, some of you may have already registered, and some of you have received an email with a specific professor and their email that you should be registering under. Now, if you have received a different email saying wait a little bit, that means that your professor has not yet registered or that their verification is still pending. So we will let you know. We will inform you once you are ready. Once you're ready to do this. So don't worry. You'll be informed at all times. All right. Then the next thing would be choosing a team, obviously. So if you already know somebody, that's very, very good. If you don't, again, we will be connecting you to the students from your university and we are looking for a system to make it as efficient as possible, because we realize that not all of you know each other. Then please choose a team captain. So in each team, there will be one person who will have the responsibility for actually accessing that dashboard. It's only the team captain that registers for the GOMC. So not every single member, but just one person from the team. And then I have also explained, and we have linked to this on the website. Please start going through steps 3 to 4 in the preparation for the next week. The sessions, I knew that the sessions starting on from next week will be quite information rich. There will be a lot of relatively condensed information where we will be very hands-on. We will be very specific about where you find things in the account, how you actually implement, and so on. So please bring your whole self to those sessions. You can also replay them afterwards, but they will also require some additional reading and some additional time from you. Finally, please join us on G+ community. You must have received an email with a link to the G+ community. Say hi to others. Please do remember to be, respectful. People are coming from various backgrounds. Be supportive. If you can help somebody else, please help somebody else. Give the answer to the questions. All right. So the next session is going to be on Wednesday next week. And I think we can take a couple of questions here. So we have a question here from Julie that is asking what the previous teams have done well in order, and so basically, how did they succeed? What are the recommendations there? So that's a good question. I think, first of all, again, understand the requirements, first of all. So have a look at what those reports should include. Again, if you have been through the website, you would know that there are Googlers, but there is also an academic panel that is involved in evaluating those reports. So, and through those reports, I would say the strongest are those which show very good understanding of the client context, where you do not propose things just because there are some nice or cool solutions, but you actually provide a very thorough and good understanding of why those solutions are relevant for the business. That's probably one of the most critical things. Understand what is required, and obviously you will also be evaluated on the basis of the results that your campaign actually provides. And finally, I would say, get your head around the solutions. Try and see, we have recommended and said that you probably would need up to 5 hours a week, but this can also take longer. Obviously, you have to manage your time yourself, so you know better how you learn, but do take time to actually understand. Join all the sessions, be active. If there's something you don't understand, ask questions. So I hope that answered the question.
Yeah, maybe I think also in general, we try to think user first, right? I think when we, do our jobs, when we get questions from clients of advertisers, we really try to think, okay, what's the really thing that's going to add value to the end user, to the client, right? So whatever solution you will implement, once you truly understand it, what's the real added value for the end user of it? So exactly that you don't, work in getting certain products live. It's really try to help the end user.
Yeah. I see there's one more question. I'm actually not entirely sure that I understand all of it, but I see that Julie, you were saying that you also asked this question on G+, so maybe we can just go back to G+ and answer your question and then come up with the follow-ups. So we'll follow up on G+ on this one. All right. So I think this is it from us for today. Please don't be silent if you do have questions. Join G+ again. Voice whichever questions you have, and we will do our best to answer those. So yeah, thank you very much for joining, and see you next week.
Thanks a lot, guys.